Hi everybody, Julianne Jones here, and this is my answer version to the Q&A video Monday session that happened yesterday. And I'm so sorry, it's been an insane day. I meant to get this done this morning and just have not been able to manage it. So here I am. It's a little bit late in the day on Tuesday, but you're going to get your answers. Thanks all of you who participated, and I want to dive right in. I had somebody private message me a question, and she said, her name is Deb. And she didn't want me to use her whole name because she wanted to make sure that that nobody saw the question she posted because she didn't want to offend anybody. So that makes sense. She said, I often get voicemail when calling clients. I don't just want to hang up, but I also don't want to tell them everything in a message. I want to actually talk to them. Do you have any suggestions for messages to leave or types of things to say that will get them to call back? If so, please share. So this is a great question. I've actually written blog posts about this before, Deb, and it's one that I definitely have an answer to. So first of all, when you call, you do want them to call back. That's the whole point of leaving a message for someone, right? And so the key is to make sure that you are leaving a message that compels them to want to know more from you. So the less information you give, I think the better. Depending on why you're calling, if you can just basically say, hey, it's Deb, I have a quick question for you, can you give me a call back, and the number, that generally works really well because usually you do have a question for them, even if the question is, how are you doing with your products, or would you be interested in booking a party, or can I follow up with you about learning more about my opportunity? Whatever that is, I have a quick question for you, or I have just a really quick thing I need to share with you, so that when they listen to that message, they're going, well, I wonder what that is, and they want to call you back to learn more. If you give a lot of information, I'm calling because I'm trying to book my calendar for March and da-da-da-da, they might decide they don't really need to talk to you and not call you back. So be as vague as you can, be polite, but give them a reason to want to call you back, and that should help. Thanks so much for the question. Great question. So I have a couple others that came through on the page, and we're going to get to those now. Janice, my question is office hours. How do you stay on track with them? My direct sales business is my full-time job, and I'm finding it hard to not go beyond my office hours or to get a little bit more done. It's getting to be a strain on my family. I'd love to hear your advice. Boy, oh boy, can I relate to this, Janice. So I mean, I struggle with that. I think most entrepreneurs like us are overachievers and workaholics. And I know, like for me, my office is right off my kitchen. You can see the kitchen in the background. I have a door now on my office. I didn't when I first moved in to this house. My husband actually put that in for me. It's a pocket door. But what I find I have to do is shut off my email, either shut down my computer or put it to sleep. I tidy up my desk area so that that's clean and done at the end of whenever that work day is. And I walk out of my office and I close the door. Now that doesn't mean I never wander back in here. But for me, I have set office hours, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. My son comes home from school at 3. He's 17. He's in high school. You'd think, oh, who cares? Honestly, he cares. He makes comments sometimes like, well, I told you that, but you were in front of your computer, so you didn't hear me. So I really want to make sure that when he's home from school, even if I'm not necessarily interacting with him, I'm not sitting here working because I don't want him to always think I never, all I ever do is work. So my office hours are 9 to 3. I usually check my email when I first get up before I run out to work out in the morning, but I'm really careful to just check it and not like deal with anything. And sometimes I'll check it right before I go to bed at night too. I'm honest to tell you that. It's not necessarily a good thing, but it happens. But during the business hours that I keep, I do my best to have a planner, so I have a plan for what I'm going to work on, and some days I do better at that than others. And at the end of the day, I shut the door, I turn everything off, and I walk out. You could even maybe have an open-closed sign on your door. I have clients who do that. I have clients who set timers to keep on track. So I'm going to work for an hour on this, I set a timer, and then they move on to something else. The key, I think, is to make sure that you set those office hours, share them on your voicemail, share them with your team, and then honor those with yourself. So if you say you're going to quit at 5, you quit at 5. The other thing you can do is take that schedule that you create and share it with your family and give them permission to call you on it if you're working when you're not supposed to be. Because, boy, especially kids, they are great accountability partners. And if you're working and you're not supposed to be working, they're happy to come in and say, you're not supposed to be working, stop. My kids did that a lot when they were little. So hope that helps. Great question. Susan Kautzer, can you repeat those amazing words to get someone on the fence who says they are going to join but just aren't taking the leap? Thanks. So if you're talking about recruiting with this, Susan, my goal is never to move someone off the fence, okay? My goal is to make sure that they have enough information to make a decision when they're ready to make that decision. Now, obviously, You can nudge them toward moving into a yes or no. You can make sure they have a lot of information. You can invite them to events, whatever. But the truth is, it's not your responsibility to elicit a yes or no from someone. It's your responsibility to make sure that they have enough information so that they can make an informed decision for themselves and their life. And that is really your only job. And it's when you start pushing them for an answer that everybody feels like you're being pushy, including them. So my approach was always, hey, I just was checking in with you. You know, we have this opportunity event coming up. Wanted to know if you'd be interested in coming to learning more. Is there any other questions you have that I can answer? Get them the information, and then when the time is right, let them make the decision. That being said, you do want to stay in front of them and continue to follow up periodically so that you nudge them toward a decision, or at least to get more information. Okay, great question. Let's see. How do you convey the importance of attending my company's conventions? My consultants look at this as an expense, and they don't, not what they'll take away from it. You know, that's from Eva. I remember that my upline told me if you can get someone to convention, they're pretty much guaranteed to stay in the business. And I think that's true, because you see these women who look just like you, who are just like you, walking the stage, winning these amazing awards, taking home huge checks, all that. The incentive piece of it is huge. And also the educational piece. You know, I speak at enough conventions to know the education's great there. So I think all you can do is just share with them your experience, share with them why it's been so great for you, what you've loved about the conventions you've attended, how you would never miss one because of whatever your reasons are, and encourage them to look at how they can put away a little bit of money from each party, you know, every month into a fund for convention. It's really a business expense. It's a business write-off. It's a tax write-off, which this time of year especially a lot of people are interested in. And maybe help them see if you take 10% of every party you do, you know, for the next 4 months, you'll be able to save enough to attend convention. Help them find a way, and definitely convey why it's important to you, not just you got to go and because I said so, you know, because that doesn't usually work for most people. Okay, Kristen Sheets. The parties I have are fun and sales-wise successful. It's just getting them booked that is my issue. How can I keep my calendar full? So booking parties from your parties, Kristen, especially if they are fun, is essential. So if you have a fun experience, people are having fun there, it's not a big leap then for you to find a way to make sure that you're converting that momentum and that fun into more bookings. So in other words, if they're having fun, they're going to want to repeat that experience with their friends. So look at how you're offering your booking opportunity. Make sure that your booking commercial focuses on the experience, not just the product. I know a lot of people, they think, yeah, I have a booking commercial. I open my hostess brochure and I tell them everything that they'll receive. Honestly, potential hosts don't really want to know that. They want to know, what's the experience going to be like? Is it going to be fun for me and my friends? Can I pick a theme? Some things that are not necessarily, I mean, everybody knows they're going to get free product if they host a party. Unless you've been living in a cave for the last 25 years, you kind of know that. What else are they going to get from it? And share that. Make sure you're sharing that at every party. Offer the opportunity in a way that's all about them. Hey, you told me before the party you were really busy, and I would love to come and spoil you and your friends and give you a break. As opposed to, would you like to book a party with me? And the same thing if you're making phone calls. Have a conversation, ask how they're doing, and just say, hey, I've been thinking about you. You know, it's been a long time since we've done a party, or if it's someone brand new, you were so much fun at Sue's party. I'd love to have you as a host. Can I come and spoil you? Okay, so that's my best advice. Do your best to make sure that you're sharing from the perspective of what's in it for them, and make sure that you're sharing effectively at every party you're doing, especially if you already have a fun party, because that's half the battle. Sheena King, should you do your own specials to increase sales? I have heard you should do extra specials different from what your company offers for your customers as a way to say thank you and increase the sales. I have also heard not to, that your customers would always expect it and only order when you offer specials. I'd like to know your thoughts. Well, first of all, Sheena, if you're building a team at all, I think you have to look at how duplicatable you are. And the truth is, most people in your downline or potential downline people probably can't afford to offer extra specials, especially if it's a customer special that you're offering to everybody who orders, for instance, in March. Host specials, if you want to say, when I show up to do your party, I'm going to give you this extra thing for being a great host, or for, you know, getting me your list so I can send your invitations out, or to incentivize them, I think that's great. And host specials, number one, you only give them when you show up to the party that's actually holding, and that you don't want them to be more than, like, you know, retail $20 or $25. That's high, on the high end. They can also be less expensive. But that's one host. If you're talking about a customer special, you're looking at a lot of out-of-pocket expense, which maybe you can afford, but not necessarily someone in your downline. And plus, usually direct sales companies give great customer specials. So I really don't think it's required for you to do that in order to, incentivize them to purchase. And I do think you have a point there. I think they will expect it going forward. And I think it's not a great idea. So that's my advice. Aaron, I work full-time and I have 2 small children. I would love for my business to be full-time, my full-time job, but my husband and I can't afford for me to quit my job. How do you create a balance of building a business while being present for my family and having it all work out? So a lot of that has to do with time management and making sure that you are really, looking at how you spend your time, and you're going to have to be really vigilant about the time that you give to your business, and so that you can still work your full-time job and take care of your husband and kids and all the things you need to do as a mom and a wife. But here's what I recommend. Decide how many parties a month you can do, let's say, and how much time, like office hours every week. You can, if it's 5 hours a week or whatever, as far as building your team and doing the back office things. But as far as parties are concerned, let's say you can do 1 party a week. You can manage 1 night a week. What I would recommend is that you take every penny that you earn through your business, no matter how it comes to you, whether it's downline overrides or party profits, and you put that into a savings account. It's not touched. That money is all meant for savings. So number 1, what you're doing when you do that is you're creating an emergency fund so that when you do decide to quit your job, you have a little bit of a backup fund. But as you're doing that, you're going to be able to kind of see how much you're making every month and every party. And when you get to the point with your direct sales business where you're pretty much saving every month as much as you're making in your regular full-time job, means you're ready to quit your full-time job. And so while you're discovering what that, when that place is going to be or when that time is going to be, you're also saving, so if you do it over 6 months, by the time you get to the place where you can actually replace your full-time income, you could have saved $10 or $15 or $20,000, which how great would that be to go into your own business knowing that you have that emergency fund to make up for a month that maybe isn't as good, or if you have a slower month. So that's what I recommend. Really clearly managing your time, and then taking the profits from your direct sales business and saving them until you get to the point where you're making as much in your direct sales business as you are in your full-time business. Or you see that, maybe your party average is such that if you could add 5 parties a week, or a month, because you're not working your full-time job anymore, it would make up for the difference. Okay, great question. How often should you send emails or newsletters? That's Kimberly Bolton. I send mine once a week, Kimberly, and I think that it's important to stay in touch with your list at least once, a couple times a month at least. For me, once a week allows me to share the blog post that I've written, which is always purely informational. If you're not on my email list yet, make sure that you go to juliannejones.com, and with an E, and get signed up, because those e-zines I send on Fridays are awesome. They have a little bit of a personal note from me about what's going on in my life. We share tips, we share an inspirational quote, and then you get the blog post for the week, which is always great information. And that keeps me in front of my list. It keeps me, people like expecting to hear from me. And that's important. So if you're cultivating a list and you only email them once every 6 months, it's actually not a good idea, because then they're like, who is this person and why are they in my inbox? Whereas with me, people know they expect an email every week from me. So I say weekly, at least a couple times a month would be my best answer. And last but not least, that was from Kimberly Bolton. This is from Kelly Mary Kay, but I don't think your last name is Mary Kay. Good morning, Julianne Jones. My question is, how do I interact with people to let them know about my business? How do I book parties? Sometimes I am shy. I think she meant shy. It says shine, but I think she meant shy. It's funny, that's kind of the opposite of shy. So, Kelly, I think it's important to share from your own experience, because when you're talking about your own experience and why you love what you do, or why you love your product, or how it's changed your life, it's a lot more comfortable than trying to talk to someone about, hey, you should do this because it would be great for you for these reasons. That's when people, especially shy people, have a tendency to feel uncomfortable. So instead of telling someone what's in it for them, actually, I do think you should tell them what's in it for them as far as offering. So I'd like to come spoil you. I talked about that earlier on this video. But rather than coming at them from the perspective of wanting them to do something, and that's different, okay? What's in it for them is different from, I want to leverage you to do something, book a party, buy my product. All you're doing is telling them, I love what I do, and let me tell you about that. Or let me tell you what I love about my products. Or I did a party last night that was awesome, and this is what the host got, and I would love to share that with you. That's really the best way to talk about your business, I think, or let them know about your business. And if you're talking about sponsoring, I really do believe sharing from the perspective of why you love your job. What has it changed for you? How has this business changed your life? It's always a safe way to do it, and it always feels more comfortable. Okay? Wow, lots of questions today. Thanks so much, everybody. Come join us next Monday right here on this page. We do video Q&A Monday, questions every Monday, and usually I get to them by Tuesday morning. It's Tuesday afternoon today. Sorry about that. I'd love to connect with you on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, any place out there where I am. And all those links are below this video, so please feel free to come find me, reach out, connect. I love the fact that we get to connect virtually. It's just so awesome for me. Thanks so much for being a part of this week if you were one of the ones who submitted the questions. And hopefully, if you didn't or you haven't yet, you'll come by next Monday and leave a question for me. Thanks so much. Have a fabulous day.